My name is Phil Chan. I serve as medical director at the STD clinic at the Marion Hospital. I also serve as a medical consultant to the Rhode Island Department of Health for the Office of HIV/AIDS, Viral Hepatitis, STDs, and TB under the direction of Dr. Nicole Alexander-Scott, who will speak in a few minutes. Today I would like to share with some good news with people, as well as some challenges for the future. As of this event, the Rhode Island Department of Health is releasing the HIV Care Continuum. For some of you may know this, but the HIV Care Continuum describes the steps of HIV care and the number of people engaged at each stage. This is something that's used across the country to describe the steps of HIV care and to describe how well we're doing in terms of addressing the HIV epidemic and where the gaps are in care as well. And you'll see to your right here an updated HIV Care Continuum for 2015 for the state of Rhode Island. And there'll be copies of this available as well for people that want to look on it in detail. The important points are this. Number one is that people need to know their HIV status. So the first bar on the graph is everyone in Rhode Island who has HIV, whether they're diagnosed or not. And so the first point is that there's still a significant number of people in Rhode Island who don't know their HIV status. We really need routine opt-out HIV testing across all medical settings. It's something that we're working towards. And for those people that are at risk of HIV, we need to consider other options such as PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis. My friend and colleague Richie is going to talk a little more about that in a second. But PrEP is something that we should consider, is something that we are prescribing at many medical settings, including at Marion Hospital. Second, and the third bar here represents the important need for people to be engaged in HIV care. This is critical for people who have HIV to be in care. They need access to medications, and we need to reduce all disparities and barriers for people in care. It's fantastic that under the Affordable Care Act, Rhode Island now has one of the lowest rates of uninsured individuals in the entire country. It's a huge success here in Rhode Island, and we need to make sure that all Rhode Islanders continue to have access to care. Finally, and this is really the key point in the last step of the care continuum, is that people with HIV need to be on medications and need to be undetectable and suppressed. What does that mean? It means, as we heard from Charlie Sheen in the news lately, that he's undetectable. It means that people with HIV who aren't on medications, is that the medications are essentially killing off most of the HIV in your body. When we draw a tube of blood at the doctor's office, it means that there's essentially no HIV viral particles in that blood. And that's compared to someone who's not on medications when the average virus level is around 20 to 30,000 within that tube of blood. So being unsuppressed is great. People who are suppressed have a normal life expectancy. And from a public health standpoint, people who are suppressed have a minimal risk of transmitting HIV to others. And this is why it's the end point of the HIV Care Continuum. It's the goal of so many of us in medicine and public health is to really make sure that people have access to medications and are suppressed. The good news is that if you look at the graph, we are ahead at many points, many other states across the country in terms of meeting these endpoints. However, we still have a ways to go. Our goal is to really eliminate new HIV cases. It's to get to zero, which is the theme of this year's World AIDS Day across the country, and I know we can get there. We need to do a few things. We need to focus more on access to care, especially among gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men. This is the #1 group that still continues to be impacted by the HIV epidemic. 2, we need to address other STDs like syphilis. The rates of other STDs, especially syphilis, have increased exponentially across the country, including here in Rhode Island. Other STDs increase the rate of HIV, and there's no way we can ever get to zero without addressing other STDs as well. Third, we really need to perform routine opt-out HIV testing across all medical settings. And that's just to make sure that everyone gets tested at least once in their life and more frequently if they have ongoing risk factors for HIV infection. Number 4, we need to consider PrEP for people that are at risk. PrEP is fantastic, and again, we'll hear a little bit more about that from Richie. And 5, and what's great about this event today is that we all need to work together, politicians, public health officials, medical providers, community organizations, community leaders. We're all in the same room, and as I look out across, it's great to see so many familiar faces and friends. And together we can end the HIV epidemic and really set a model for other states across the country. Thank you.